Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Top 5, where today we're going to be taking a journey through time. We'll be looking at the origins of a world that was once nothing but void, the creation of an entire universe from a single line of code, and how all of it has evolved over the past decade into the iconic game we know and love today. Make sure to leave a like rating, and we'll go ahead and get started. In our No 5 spot, we have the big 1.0 release. So in May of 2009, after a few months in development, a young programmer by the name of Marcus Persson, aka Notch, had his game released to the public. At the time, the game wasn't much. It was pretty primitive, just like this caveman here, but there was something about the game that people found fascinating. Maybe it was the freedom or the creativity, or maybe it was just the lack of anything else to do back in 2009. Either way, people began to find this game quite enjoyable, and the player count slowly but surely began to climb. And if you look around the menu, you can see this game was bare bones, to say the least. There were only 4 biomes for players to explore: plains, forest, desert, and mountains. And these worlds were infinite, meaning the longer you played, the more land you would see. Which brings us into the second point. And there are no less than 6 new biomes added. Biomes have always been an important part of Minecraft, as they add variety to the world and dictate what kind of terrain and creatures will spawn in them. And with this update, players could now find themselves exploring brand new landscapes, such as swamps, jungles, mushroom islands, and even the Nether. Speaking of which, this brings us into our next point. At number 3, we have the addition of the Nether. If you aren't familiar with the Nether, it's basically a hellish dimension full of lava, fire, monsters, and unique terrain that is slightly similar to the real world. This update was huge because it gave players access to new resources and expanded the game's total area by 50%. To be honest though, when you really look at it, it's not that impressive. At the time, there were only 2 dimensions, the overworld and the Nether, and although the Nether is a vast place, it doesn't hold a candle to the amount of space you can travel in the overworld. Not to mention most of the Nether looks the same, which makes traveling through it very boring. Luckily, this would soon change. But for now, let's move on to our next point. At 2, we have the adventure update. When most people think of classic Minecraft, this is probably what comes to mind. Up until this update, players could build whatever they wanted, wherever they wanted, without any interference. But this update changed everything by introducing villagers, new structures, and most notably, the end portal. With the activation of an end portal, players could finally take on the Ender Dragon, the final boss of Minecraft. I remember spending hours upon hours trying to beat the Ender Dragon back in the day. It didn't matter if I died over and over again, I had to kill him. And this was my mindset for countless other bosses throughout video games. And if it weren't for this obsession, I may not be standing where I am today. You see, I was so obsessed with killing every final boss that I became a YouTuber. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to fix that right now. But jokes aside, this update is definitely one of the most nostalgic for me out of any of the updates throughout Minecraft's history. As for me and countless others, this is where our journey in Minecraft began. And I feel like I can speak for all of us when I say thank you. Thank you for introducing us to this magical world where anything is possible. But unfortunately, there is one more spot left on this list. And it goes to the peaceful update. This update was special because it added something that I feel like should have been added from the start of the game, and that's the ability to set difficulty. With this, we got peace, which allowed us to play the game without any monsters spawning, making it easier for building and exploration. And speaking of exploration, this update also gave us the Ocean Monument, a massive underwater structure that gave players a brand new challenge. Back in the day, The Ocean Monument was one of the scariest structures to explore because of the hordes of guardians that lurked within its walls. But that's all it brought to the table. That, and a new enemy called the Elder Guardian, which had the unique ability to blind the player upon contact. Now this enemy was pretty hard to kill, but the reward was worth it, because they dropped the strongest enchantable book in the game, making it possible to create powerful gear that could help you slay more enemies and defeat more bosses. Now the thing is, I didn't want to include this update on this list, but I feel like it is necessary because, although this game has come a long way since its early days, it never truly left. If you were to strip away all the fancy graphics and complex redstone contraptions, you'd still be left with the same game that people played back in 2009. And that's why I decided to include it. It shows that despite how far the game has come, it hasn't forgotten its roots. I honestly could have made this entire video about all the changes to Minecraft over the years, but that would have taken way too long. So instead I decided to focus on the older updates, because those are personally my favorite. But if you disagree and you want me to cover more recent updates, then let me know down below and I just might make a part 2. Now, speaking of future videos, I'm currently working on a video about the newly announced Minecraft spin-off game called Minecraft Legends. And to be completely honest, I don't know if it's gonna be good or not, but either way, I'm definitely hyped to check it out. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed and leave a comment. And with that said, I've officially exhausted my talking points, so it's time to wrap this video up. Before I go though, make sure to leave a like rating and check out one of these videos. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.